All right, here we are, guys. Standard 20. We got 5 more to go, and we'll be at the end, or be at the current day of the United States history that we need to know. So here's a few things just to kind of get you getting into things. The first topic will be, you see, it's called containment. Keep that in your mind, containment. Next thing will be the Marshall Plan, and then we'll have the Truman Doctrine. Those will be your only topics for the day. Let's get this started. All right, here we go. US 20. Let's get your pens ready. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 1. All right, here we go. All right, what was the domestic and international impact of look what we're doing, the Cold War. That's what it's all about, the Cold War on the United States. It's starting to get chilly. Oh, I got some goosebumps. Yeah, the Cold War. That's what's happening. That's right. Here we go. This standard measures your knowledge of the, all right, you need to know the causes. Capitalize this, please. The causes and the, there we go, and I bet you can guess, the effects of the, causes and effects of the, and I just told you, the Cold War. All right, following World War II, the United States and other allies, all right, we did something to Germany. What did we do to Germany? We divided it, divided Germany into, that's right, 4 occupation, we call them zones, 4 occupation zones, okay? When who's the bad guys? When the Soviet Union refused to join its zone with the French, British, and American zones and allowed the German people to assume control of their government, the Cold War, guess what? Started. That's right. Started. So the French, the British, and the Americans, they put their 3 zones together, and the Soviet Union said, no, I want to keep this part of Germany, Eastern Germany, for myself. So over 4 decades, here we go, competition. Competition between the United States and the USSR, or the Soviet Union, or the United Soviet Socialist Republic, involved many countries aligned with one of the 2. These are the only 2. What are they called? Superpowers. Very good. All right, there's our introduction. Let's get into it. First topic is called the Marshall Plan. And here we go. This is the European Recovery Program. We're going to try to help Europe recover after World War II, better known as the, and I just told you the topic, Marshall Plan. Whoops, Marshall Plan. And it's named for Secretary of State George Marshall. All right, it was America's main, this is our main program for, all right, our main program for, Europe's been destroyed, so let's rebuild, or rebuilding Western, what continent? Western Europe, and, all right, what's that thing we don't like? It's our main program for rebuilding Europe and opposing, this is going to be the big issue throughout this entire Cold War. That's what the Russians are, communism. So by rebuilding certain areas, we're going to oppose communism after World War II, because we don't want communism to spread. The plan was to put into action in July. The year is July. We're only 2 years after the war. 2 years after World War II. What would it be? 40 what? The war ended in 45, so this is 1947, and operated for 4 years. During that time, the United States spent $13 billion on economic and technical assistance for the economic and war-torn, war-torn democratic European countries that had been nearly destroyed during World War II. All right. All right, what's the name of this plan we're talking about? The Marshall Plan offered the same aid to the Soviet Union. We were willing to help them too, and its allies, if they would make political reforms and accept certain outside controls. However, the Soviets, what do? What do? They rejected in your face, America. They rejected this proposal. And the Cold War will begin. All right, Marshall Plan, I like to look at it as what this, look at the M. The M stands for money, money, money. We're going to spend a lot of money rebuilding Europe, the Marshall Plan, and stopping communism. Money to stop communism, the Marshall Plan. That's right. That's right. All right, here we go. Next topic, our commitment to Europe. Now, what's our goal here? We want to halt the spread of, what is it? You know it. We want to stop the spread of communism to Western Europe and the Soviet-controlled nations of Eastern Europe. The United States formed the North Atlantic Treaty Organization known as NATO with many of the non-communist nations in Europe, okay, including former wartime allies Britain and France. In response, the Soviet Union, they created the Warsaw Pact. The Warsaw Pact, all right, and which is an alliance of the, what do you think they are? That's those bad guys we don't like. Of the communist nations. It controlled in, what side of Europe does Russia control? Western or Eastern? That's right, Eastern Europe. All right, convinced the Soviets were attempting to establish a sphere of influence throughout the world, the United States viewed these actions as a direct threat to American security. All right, this determination to stop the spread of, what we're trying to stop again, you can say it, that evil institution, communism, is known as the policy of, okay, we're not trying to eliminate it from the earth. We just want to stop it from spreading, so it's called containment. We don't mind it being where it is. We don't like it, but we're not going to eliminate it. We just don't want it to spread. And was the basis for many U.S. foreign policy decisions during the Cold War. That's right, the containment policy, the NATO versus Warsaw Pact. That will be what's going on at the Cold War. All right, now this takes us to our last topic of the day, which is called the Truman Doctrine. But make sure you get this through your mind. Who's the President of the United States right now? The end of World War II, his name is Harry Truman. So he's going to come up with his own plan. Here is the year. It's after World War II, 1945, after World War II, so World War II ends in 45, President Harry Truman, make sure you know his name, Truman, the guy who got to drop the bombs, proclaimed his ideas called the Truman Doctrine. It stated the United States would supply any nation with economic and military aid to prevent the falling under the Soviet sphere of influence. Harry Truman called upon the United States to support. Who are we going to support? All right, communists? No, the free peoples who are resisting attempted subjugation by armed minorities or by outside pressures. Although Truman never referred directly to the USSR, anyone who heard the declaration, including the Soviet leaders, knew the Soviets were the outside pressures Truman talked about. So, this is a little bit about what it's like. Check this out. Building walls. Building walls. The Cold War involved the building of physical and figurative walls. The Soviets built physical walls to keep citizens of communist nations in and democratic influences out. The Berlin Wall is a good example of the walls the Soviets built. The United States built figurative walls surrounding communist nations to keep their influence from spreading. An example of a figurative wall built by the United States is the 38th parallel, which we'll talk about when we get to Korean War, which divides North Korea and South Korea. The conflicts that arose between communist and democratic nations were usually results of attempts to break through these walls. All right, guys, very good. Let's make sure we go back and look at this one more time, the topics we just looked at. And here we are. So what was the U.S. policy toward communism after World War II? Do we want to stop it? No. All we want to do is contain communism. We don't care if it stays there. We don't like it. But we don't want it to spread around. This is what will get us into a lot of wars to stop it from spreading. Then we have, all right, after World War II, what plan was designed to rebuild Europe? Look at all the dollar signs. It's all about money, 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 money. It helps you remember. Starts with an M. What was the plan? What was the plan? What was the plan to rebuild Europe so the Soviets don't move communism in there? The Marshall Plan. Very good, very good. And then after World War II, what plan was designed to help any country that would be important to stop the spread of communism? We're going to help them militarily, economically. And you see it right here. It's going to be coming out by our new president, Harry Truman, the Truman Doctrine. All right, that's it. That's where we're going next. Thank you for paying attention. Good job.